the utility token involved with the project,
Yeah.
the KKT token.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the functionality of that.
Okay, so as we were in the process of building the fractional property fund, we came to the realization that we need to build the underlying infrastructure to achieve the distribution, governance, and liquidity. So we needed to build the underlying blockchain infrastructure to support this fund. But then we realized that this underlying infrastructure can actually be leveraged for other security offerings as well. Okay, so technically nothing prevents it to support any other business related investment offering or any other property related investment offering or any other investment offering.
Just for clarity, while currently your project is being applied to real estate, you're saying that there is the means within your platform to be applied later on to other traditional securities or whatever security someone might like to host.
Correct. Yeah. So think of the Konkrete platform as analogous to the ASX and the fractional fund to any offering which is listed on the ASX. So which means that we are building the underlying infrastructure which will support our fractional fund offering, but this infrastructure can then be used by any other securities offering, and the Konkrete token is basically used as the fuel to make this ecosystem run. So it will be used by issuers who want to list on the platform. It will be used by people who want to exchange their units or shares with each other as a transaction fee payment mechanism. It will be used to record and verify KYC. It will be used to conduct AML and CTF, and it will be used as a mechanism to record votes in a decentralized manner, so that investment offerings which are decentralized, just like our fractional fund is expected to be decentralized, can leverage the power of blockchain in a smooth and effective manner.
Yeah,
so those are all the purposes of the Konkrete token.
Yeah, it's an important distinction there, that you're actually setting up here a platform more so than just one project, in that down the line we may see many use cases actually come out of this project.
And as previously mentioned, while we started with the fractional fund as our focus, tomorrow if somebody comes up with a better implementation or a better flavor of fractional fund, then we will be quite comfortable with sort of letting them compete with us, and the market can decide which is the best fractional fund offering. I mean, for us, we'll still make fees because we'll be the platform operators, but we are going to stick to the decentralization and merit-based offerings.
Well, I think that's brilliant. From an innovation standpoint, you guys obviously setting up this platform here that other innovators can come through, and like you've said, it's admittance of we might not have in our heads right now the best application for this, but by putting out that platform, we're going to allow other great minds to come through and see what they can come up with innovatively in the future.
It's an open sourcing for securities platform in a sense.
Absolutely. It's kind of the same philosophy as Ethereum, in terms of the ERC20. They're like, we're going to build the protocol layer and allow other people to do what they want with it. And I guess KKT tokens are akin to the fuel or the ether on their platform.
Yeah, I was drawing those sort of comparisons already in my head, and the way that Ethereum token is used as a fuel to negotiate these sort of arrangements on the platform, the same way your KKT token will be arranged in a way that it can be used as fuel to operate different security tokens on your platform. Cool. So when it comes to these sort of assets, when you're dealing with high-end and very valuable tokens essentially, how are you going to be dealing with the custody? And well, I know you probably haven't got an envisioned full solution to this yet, but just what sort of things are you thinking about custody-wise when there is such a high value asset at stake?
So under current law in Australia, you still need a custodian when it comes to securities, especially managed investment schemes. So till that changes, we still have to have third-party custodian. I think down the line, we will see some evolution on part of the governments where they understand how the need for a third-party custodian can be eliminated, need for third-party auditors can be eliminated by having securities on the blockchain. As of now, we will be following all the regulations which are required by ASIC and securities regulations in Australia. So that's really, we are going to follow all the rules which are required.
So essentially, while blockchain does sort of solve and alleviate the need for some of these more managerial aspects. You're saying you will obviously be following these until Australian government and regulation is in place, such that it's very clearly defined that it's not required in a blockchain case. Cool. So that's Konkrete, and I really love the ability to apply this to such a strong problem here in Australia. And I myself have already been thinking down this line of investing in a property and what on earth I'm going to do about getting this deposit together. So great to see innovation in that space and the integration with blockchain, because I'm obviously very excited about that space independently. Where do you guys see blockchain fitting in general down the line in, say, 5 years' time? What sort of position does blockchain have in our society?
You want to go first?
Yeah, well, I think we were speaking about this earlier, but I think it's a really interesting time, because just like the internet revolutionized everything that we do now, and then there was a mobile revolution, I think this is the next one that will potentially dwarf even those two. And I mean, so many industries will eventually, and quite a few are resisting at the moment, but obviously they will succumb to blockchain. But I think like any other technology, if you speak to the average person and try to explain to them how the internet works, I mean, even me, I can't explain how the internet works, but we can't live without it, right? Ultimately, I think blockchain will take that kind of role, right? They don't know, let's say they don't need to know how Konkrete works, but a few years from now, crowdfunding or deposit might be such a common thing where everyone just does it. And
it might will become the default.
Exactly, and I think that's what's going to permeate across all of our industries. It's whatever we do now, just supercharged, done better, done faster, done more transparently, but the average person will have no idea how that's happening.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that as well, and we see things like encryption involved in emails and all these things that we take for granted on the day-to-day, but down the line, these sort of complex blockchain functionalities are going to be abstracted and hidden behind these much more user-friendly interfaces, and all of a sudden we're just going to be benefiting from the technology rather than worrying about how it actually works. So.
Yeah, and personally, I think I mean everything what Sean said, but given the fact that I have a background in finance, I think we'll see a lot of security tokens coming in, so where fundraising in a regulated manner will happen on the blockchain. I think there are a lot of interesting applications where continuous disclosure obligations and audit requirements are embedded and baked into the security token, which means that listing on the ASX will not be necessary to achieve the liquidity, and we will see an improvement in the way capitalism works. So it's a bit obscure, but you will find a lot of financial issuers start issuing their product on the blockchain.
Yeah, I think obviously seeing ICOs and with all the controversy around them aside, it is a very, very great model for crowdfunding and actually sourcing that initial investment to get these potentially
while
very
having
innovative,
the required checks and balances to protect investors.
So that's it. So if we can get that sort of regulation in place to protect investors, it'd be great to be able to, have some more faith in ICOs, because as an investment vehicle, I think it's fantastic. But the problem has been through people's misuse of an otherwise very beneficial platform, I guess. So given you guys have undertaken this journey and been setting up a blockchain startup, which is something many of us have had dreams of or even thinking about now at home, what piece of advice might you give to specifically a blockchain startup if they were thinking about undertaking a project in the space?
Sure, I think blockchain startup, regular startup, any new startup, you start with the problem that you're trying to solve, right? And I think up until now, unfortunately, there's been a lot of technology out there looking for a solution, and blockchain, AI, machine learning, all that kind of stuff. It's buzzwords that people want to get involved with, and then they apply the tech to certain things. So I think it was important for us to really determine what problems are we actually solving, and then what's blockchain going to be able to do to help solve those problems. And that's how we really got clear around those three areas that we really thought blockchain would help the product and ultimately then reach those people. Because I think if you approach it from just the technology angle, which is why a lot of startups fail, because they they think they're building some cool new tech, and then they bring it out to the market, and everyone's like, cool, but we're not going to use it.
Exactly right. And blockchain is that cool new tech, and that is why it's so sexy, I guess, to be using and putting that word on your project. But I love what you're saying there in terms of, you know, there's so many blockchain specifically startups that have a solution, but really there wasn't a problem in the first place. So while they might have a functional product, it doesn't actually really have a true use case in our society. And so by focusing in on that problem first and saying, you know, is there truly a need for that, and then saying, hey, can we solve this with blockchain? I think that's the perfect sort of standpoint to have, and something a lot of startups or potential startups can learn from.
Yeah, and
so yeah, I guess blockchain space particularly is a very exciting one. There's been a lot of revelations, a lot of things that it's allowing. Is there, you know, a key piece of learning or something that blockchain has taught you that you might like to share with people? And that could be generally blockchain is allowing something great that people might not have thought of, or another exciting project that you've got in mind.
I mean, personally, I think it has really opened up a lot of possibilities, and I think the whole idea of you being of a certain age or having a certain amount of experience has been thrown out of the water. I mean, Vitalik Buterin, he came up with Ethereum when he was in the teens. So for somebody to come up with so groundbreaking and fundamental in terms of its implications for human civilization at such an age means that the whole idea of going through a long formal training process is not really material anymore. So I'm quite excited about what kind of new things are in store for us.
I really love that idea as well, and the fact that it doesn't discount these sort of long-winded trainings or university degrees and things like that, but it really is a testament to show that you don't have to have done an education such as that in order to be successful. And it's proving to people that if you have an idea and you're willing to work at it and find the right people to help you with it, that you can achieve these sort of successes without necessarily having a training in this field. And I guess in an unregulated space such as crypto, where this sort of training isn't all that accessible, I think that's very important for people out there to remember, in that, you know, if you've got that idea, then chase it, and don't expect that you have to have done something as a prerequisite, because there are so many exciting things in this space emerging out of thin air, seemingly, and
there's
out of
no
this technology.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, as long as that you are remaining diligent in that you have addressed an actual problem that people want to have solved, then I think that's really the only limitation to me, is making sure that you're addressing a problem.
Absolutely. I mean, Satoshi's white paper is 10 years old, and that's it. So we're like the tip of the iceberg, you know, in terms of the opportunities. I don't even know what's going to happen next week, let alone a month from now, in terms of the evolution of the blockchain space. And to your point, there's no degree out there, because everything has been built around our current capital systems. You know, it's the current economists and stuff. They don't naturally get blockchain because and when you talk to VCs and ask them to value your blockchain startup, and it's like, well, none of the models work, and that's why it's a fresh new playing field, and that's why it doesn't matter how old you are, as long as you're thinking about these things, you've got a good chance as anyone.
That's it. Well, thank you so much for your time today, guys.
Thank you so much for having
I'm looking
us.
forward to your presentation tonight. Konkrete as a project I'm very excited about, as well as blockchain space in general. So very much thank you again, and thanks for sharing this information with our community.
Thank you so much for having us.
No worries. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, mate.